Whatever happened to Lestat, I do not know. I go on, night after night. I feed on those who cross my path. But all my passion went with their golden hair. I'm a spirit of preternatural flesh, detached, unchangeable, empty. For years I wandered, Italy, Greece, all the ancient lands, but the world was a tomb to me, a graveyard full of broken statues, and each of those statues resembled her face. Then, out of curiosity, boredom, who knows what, I left the old world and came back to my America, and there a mechanical wonder allowed me to see the sunrise for the first time in 200 years. And what sunrises, seen as the human eye could never see them. Silver at first, then as the years progressed in tones of purple, red, and my long-lost blue. In the spring of 1998, I returned to New Orleans. As soon as I smelled the air, I knew I was home. It was rich, almost sweet. 1791 was the year that it happened. I was 24, younger than you are now. But times were different then. I was a man at that age, a master of a large plantation just south of New Orleans. I had lost my wife in childbirth. She and the infant had been buried less than half a year. I would have been happy to join them. I couldn't bear the pain of their loss. I longed to be released from it. I wanted to lose it all, my wealth, my estate, my sanity. Most of all, I longed for death. I see that now. I invited it, a release from the pain of living. My invitation was open to anyone, to the whore at my side, to the pimp that followed, but it was a vampire that accepted. He left me there on the banks of the Mississippi, somewhere between life and death. I've come to answer your prayers. Life has no meaning anymore, does it? The wine has no taste. The food sickens you. There seems no reason for any of it, does there? But what if I could give it back to you? Pluck out the pain and give you another life. One you could never imagine, and it would be for all time. And sickness and death could never touch you again. Don't be afraid. I'm going to give you the choice I never had. No words can describe it. Might as well ask heaven what it sees. No human can know. Statues seemed to move, but didn't. The world had changed, yet stayed the same. I was a newborn vampire, weeping at the beauty of the night. That morning I was not yet a vampire, and I saw my last sunrise. I remember it completely, and yet I can't recall any sunrise before it. I watched the whole magnificence of the dawn for the last time, as if it was the first, and then I said farewell to sunlight, and set out to become what I became. Her blood coursed through my veins sweeter than life itself, and as it did, Lestat's words made sense to me. I knew peace only when I killed. When I heard her heart in that terrible rhythm, I knew what peace could be. All I need to find you, Louis, is follow the corpses of rats. Pain is terrible for you. You feel it like no other creature because you're a vampire. You don't want it to go on. Do what it is in your nature to do, and you will feel like you felt with that child in your arms. Evil is a point of view. God kills indiscriminately, and so shall we. For no creatures under God are as we are, none so like him as ourselves. I have a gift for you. Come, please. A little child she was, but also a fierce killer, now capable of the ruthless pursuit of blood with all a child's demanding. She slept in my coffin at first, curling her little fingers around my hair, till the day she wanted her own coffin. But still, whenever she awoke, she would crawl into mine. They died fast in those days, before she learned to play with them, to delay the moment till she had taken what she wanted. To me, she was a child, but to Lestat, a pupil, an infant prodigy with a lust for killing that matched his own. Together they finished off the whole families. Time can pass quickly for mortals when they're happy. With us it was the same. The years flew by like minutes. The city grew. Sailboats gave way to steamships, disgorging an endless menu of magnificent strangers. A new world had sprung up around us, and we were all Americans now. 30 years had passed, yet her body remained that of an eternal child. Her eyes alone told the story of her age, staring from under her doll-like curls, with the questioning that would one day need an answer. For 30 years I'd avoided that place, yet I found my way back there with hardly an upward glance. I walked all night. I walked as I walked years earlier, when my mind swam with guilt at the thought of killing, of all the things I'd done and could not undo, and I longed for 1 second's peace. Locked together in hatred, but I can't hate you, Louis. Louis, my love, I was mortal till you gave me your immortal kiss. You became my mother and my father, and so I'm yours forever. But now it's time to end it, Louis. Now it's time to leave him. Good night, sweet prince. May flights of devils wing you to your rest. Should we burn him, bury him? What would he have liked, Louis? He was all I knew. It's as simple as that. We were like 2 orphans learning to live again. We booked passage to Europe. Over the weeks, while waiting for the boat, she studied the myths and legends of the old world, obsessed with the search for what she called our kind. Ask the alligator. His blood helped. Then, on a diet of blood of snakes, toads, and all the putrid life of the Mississippi, slowly, Lestat became something like himself again. Claudia, you've been a very, very naughty little girl. Though the fire seemed to spread, I stood on that deck fearful he would come out again from the river like some monster to destroy us both. All the while I thought, Lestat, we deserve your vengeance. You gave me the dark gift, and I delivered you into the hands of death for the 2nd time. Though the ship was blessedly free of rats, a strange plague nonetheless struck its passengers. Claudia and I alone seemed immune. We kept to ourselves, pondering the mystery of each other. We reached the Mediterranean. I wanted those waters to be blue, but they were black. Nighttime waters. And how I suffered then, straining to recall the color that in my youth I take for granted. We searched village after village, ruin after ruin, country after country, and always we found nothing. I began to believe we were the only ones. There was a strange comfort in that thought, for what could the damned really have to say to the damned? Paris, September 1870, the city I'd always dreamed of. I was Creole after all, and Paris was the mother of New Orleans, a universe whole and entire unto herself. We were alive again, just the 2 of us, and so euphoric was I that I yielded to her every desire. So it was, when I'd given up the search for vampires, that a vampire found me. Bring the petite beauty with you. No one will harm you, I won't allow it. And remember my name, Armand. This monk, whose soul with heaven doth commune, and spends his days in pious contemplation, finds he will meet his Maker all too soon, and for all his prayers gets no remuneration. The lesson endeth here, and it is this: each one of you my clammy hands must touch, each one must bend his forehead to my kiss. But hark, methinks a mortal does approach. What do we have here? What beauty by my side? A rose in bloom, a shrinking violet? Perhaps she has a mind to be my bride. Perhaps my lesson has not ended yet. We all die, Death is no respecter of age. It can come any time, any place. Just as this flesh is pink now, so it will turn gray and wrinkle with age. Then why should you care if you die now? Suppose death had a heart to love and to release you. To whom would it turn its passion? Would you choose a person from the crowd there? A person to suffer as you suffer? Two vampires from the new world come to guide us into a new era, as all we love slowly rots and fades away. I understand. I saw you in the theater. Your suffering, your sympathy for that girl. You die when you kill. You feel you deserve to die and you still do nothing. But does that make you evil? Since you comprehend what you call goodness, doesn't that make you good? I know nothing of God or the devil. I have never seen a vision nor learned a secret that would damn or save my soul. As far as I know, after 400 years, I am the oldest living vampire in the world. The place was empty as we left, silent as the grave, and as we blundered through it, again came the thought, I have wronged Lestat. I have hated him for the wrong reasons. He wants you as you want him. He's been waiting for you. He wants you as a companion. He bides his time in that place. He finds it as dull as lifeless as we do. Do you know what his soul said to me without saying a word? Let him go, he said. Let him go. Is that what I should do? Let you go? My father, Louis, who made me? I could give you reasons. Her silence, her youth. It's forbidden to make one so young, so helpless that cannot survive on its own. Did you kill this vampire who made you both? Is that why you won't say his name? Santiago thinks you did. Do you know how few vampires have the stamina for immortality? How quickly they perish of their own will? The world changes. We do not. Therein lies the irony that finally kills us. I need you to make contact with this age. Me? Don't you see? I'm not the spirit of any age. I'm at odds with everything. I always have been. Decadent. Useless. They can't reflect anything. But you do. You reflect its broken heart. A vampire with a human soul. An immortal with a mortal's passion. You are beautiful, my friend. Lestat must have wept when he made you. I felt a kind of peace at last. I have found the teacher which Lestat could never, I know now, have been. I knew knowledge would never be withheld by Armand. It would pass through him as through a pane of glass. How do we seem to you? Do you find us beautiful, magical, our white skin, our fierce eyes? Drink, you ask me. Do you have any idea of the thing you will become? Yet you could do it to me, snatching me from my mother's hands like two monsters in a fairy tale, and now you weep. I haven't tears enough for what you've done to me. You give unto me, Louis. Do this before you leave me. Oh, God, I love you still. That is the torment of it. But who will care for me, my love, my dark angel, when you are gone? You can teach me this, to be without regret. Then what a pair we could make. But what if it's a lesson I don't care to learn? What if all I have is my suffering, my regret? So you can have that too, the heart that mourns her whom you burnt to a cinder. I know you did. I know. You regret nothing. You feel nothing. If that's all I have to learn, I can do that on my own. Like the fragrance of jasmine and roses around our old courtyard, I walk those streets, savoring that long-lost perfume. Then, on Britannia Street, only blocks from the Lafayette Cemetery, I caught the scent of death, and it wasn't coming from the graves. The scent grew stronger as I walked. Old death, a scent too faint for mortals to detect. You've come home to me then? You remember how I was? The vampire that I was? No one could refuse me. Not even you. You tried. And the more you tried, the more I wanted you.